Okay, I'm back. So I was in the middle of talking about the quintessential um, paper here, and we were in the middle of discussing the level of specificity, especially as they made this transition and talked about their audience. Now they're talking about very specifically in order to best serve the needs of that particular audience, right? Granted, they're the ones that are like the greatest stakeholder, but this is going to be presented still to DMCUL, right? So these are some anticipated questions that they're already thinking about that let you know how the level of research that they've done, the level of maybe additional observations or interviews and stuff like that. Maybe they've already started thinking about. Maybe they've already conducted. I'm not sure. So with that being said, okay, I realize that a lot of this isn't going to show up in our current project threes this semester. I do not expect you to do interviews. Okay. I do not expect that. I do not expect you to go on and do on-site observations. I don't expect you to do anything like that. So that's fine, right? If you want to, there's some survey things we can talk about here in a second. And surveys are great. Okay, online surveys. Maybe we have to measure our expectations this semester too, as to how many we're going to get. Right? Everyone's doing so much online right now and kind of busy in other ways that may skew and affect some of our numbers. And I understand that. Okay, so. Do not put yourselves at risk. Do not stay safe. Do not put yourself at risk. Stay safe. Do not try to go do an interview to try to impress me on this. Okay. Do not try to go do an observation outside, or in a small building or a classroom or a meeting hall or something like that. Don't do it. Okay. Please don't. Okay. It's not necessary. Where we're talking about some of that primary research, we can think about that primary research through as close to primary as we can get, and that will be through the maybe the organization's web pages. We can do it through email. Most certainly try to do it through surveys, but all through email. Do not feel like you have to get into one-on-one contact with anybody. Please don't. Stay safe. All right. You can still have this level of specificity. We're just going to have to do it a little differently because of where we are, the time that we're in right now. Okay. So think about those things now, being that we are facing this, then that's definitely going to affect the questions that you have. And it's okay to acknowledge that. That's part of it, right? That's part of where we are. That's part of doing good research, is acknowledging sometimes too limitations, right? What you can and cannot do at this time. And that's okay. That's smart. That's smart. All right. So so I don't forget to do the compare and contrast, right? So if we're looking over here, we looked at that audience there. Did you see that? Remember that thick description we just looked at, and how people are affected by this. And maybe there's like secondary and almost like there's tertiary audiences but ultimately the greatest stakeholder, but the audience remain DMC. So just compare this. We'll analyze concern, the fleet manager and plant manager, our primary audience and decision makers. We also address the needs of manufacturing. All right, that states but it doesn't really tell us about the audience, does it? When you compare it to the other one, right? There's this thick description taking place in the other one. There's just like, here's all the details of how all this stuff is working. And look, you could just like see it, you can see it being put together, right? You can see it being taken apart. That's kind of like, it's more of an audience analysis using this thick description, which is really so cool. It gives you that level of richness to it where you really understand who the audience is, and not just the audience being DMC, maybe the decision makers, but how their project affects that audience, it affects all these people, right? And how it affects them and to what level and to what degree. All right. So then, and I'm sure you all can see that, so I don't want to overemphasize that point. So then we think about, so they move in this particular one, move to qualifications. This one continues to here's our objectives, right? Here's our research methods. Here are the questions we're going to ask, right? We don't have that here, right? We right to responsibilities. There's some objectives and some methods here, but still, so maybe the difference is it's generic versus specific. Yeah, that might be maybe if that helps us kind of think about the difference between these two. This one's kind of more generic. The other one is very, very specific and rich and thick in description. This one is kind of thin, generic, not very specific. All right, I think I beat a dead horse here, so I'm going to let you guys go. If you have any questions about those samples, please do let me know. There's a good compare and contrast. I wish you all a most wonderful week. Have a good rest of your day, a good rest of your week. If there's anything that you need, do not hesitate to let me know. And if your teams are getting together, call me. Bye.